Former chair of the Federal Reserve, Alan Greenspan, once said, "We really can't forecast all that well, and yet we pretend that we can, but we really can't." So how do we really know if our economy is healthy? One strategy the Federal Reserve uses is monetary policy. Monetary policy is used to meet our three macroeconomic goals of stable prices, low unemployment, and economic growth. The two phases of monetary policy are easy money, which is when the economy is at a trough and we are looking to gain footing, and then there is tight money, when the economy is growing too fast and we must slow it down as the wage price gap is going in a spiral that is out of control. During easy money, the Fed buys bonds or securities from the Department of Treasury as raw cash flow will increase in our economy. Also, if the Fed feels more measures are needed, they will lower the discount rate, which is the interest rate that banks must pay when borrowing from the Fed. This gives the banks more cash to loan out. Finally, if the previous two steps are ineffective, they will lower the reserve requirement, which is the percent of deposits banks must keep on hand. However, during a tight money phase, the Fed will sell bonds and hold on to cash to keep it out of flow, increase the discount rate so banks will not have to loan as much, and increase the reserve requirement. According to UBS, it is predicted the Federal Reserve will cut rates 3 times this year. There's strong sentiment that this will be from pressure by President Trump in a political play to put money in the hands of Americans before the presidential election. Fiscal policy is created by the President and Congress in order to lower unemployment, keep stable prices, and create stable economic growth. Like monetary policy, there are two phases: expansionary in times when we need to grow, and contractionary when we need to slow everything down. When trying to recover from a recession or a downward slope, the legislative and executive branches will work together in order to lower taxes to allow for more spending. Also, they will increase government spending to create more contracts and subsidies in order to encourage innovation. However, with contractionary policy, when growth is too rapid, the two branches will raise taxes to keep money out of circulation in order to slow everything down, and they will decrease government spending so there are less contracts, subsidies, and tax credits. According to Maya Magunis, an opinion contributor to The Hill, some of Trump's tax cuts will generate up to $2 trillion in debt over the next decade. She claims the tax cut was reckless, and she claims they will not pay for themselves as they are nonsensical. Next, I would like to talk about GDP, the gross domestic product. GDP is the dollar value of all final goods and services produced within a country's national borders during 1 year. As we are heading into a new decade, it will require new methods of thinking. Understanding sustainable growth is necessary. However, if everyone sees the GDP increase and put money in our pockets, we will disregard its potential negative implications. Our environment won't be able to support our economy if we keep increasing the GDP in the manner in which we are. Iceland's Prime Minister Jakobsdóttir declared environmental devastation was a key factor in driving Iceland to incorporate new social indicators besides GDP in its budget planning.
Iceland held a memorial today for the country's first glacier lost to climate change. This is what it looked like in 1986, and now today, the ice melted away after being frozen for 700 years. A bronze plaque unveiled at the site today reads, "A letter to the future." It warns that over the next 200 years, all of Iceland's glaciers will meet the same fate.
Prime Minister Jakobsdóttir conveys that the GDP's economic performance undervalues the quality of life. Ultimately, through GDP, monetary and fiscal policy, we will be able to tell the health of our economy.